Saturday evening here in the UK, so I'm guessing a lot of people are spending some time with their loved ones, and why should they not? It's a perfect time to do that. So this morning I had sent to me a video, and it was a video, a very short video from Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Men in Black, one of my favorite actors actually. What I like about Will Smith is his philosophical view on life. Let me say hi to a few people. The notifications weren't coming up automatically for some reason. Jasper, good to see you. Gilbax, good to see you. B, good to see you. Martin, it's leadership time. Absolutely, leadership time. Sarah, good to see you. All the way from Brisbane. Kuldeep, good to see you. So guys, I was sent this video, very short clip, and you might have seen it. It's on my timeline somewhere. I had to just share it because I thought it's so important. Oh, by the way, guys, I have a private group called Ignite Your Inner Potential, so I share a lot of stuff on Ignite Your Inner Potential. If you want to be part of my private group called Ignite Your Inner Potential, all you have to do is say yes. Just comment yes on here, and I'll make sure that you are brought into that group. It's a closed group, so not everybody gets to see everything outside of the group, but there's a lot of great content on there, so I do share an awful lot of stuff on there. So if you want to be part of my community, Ignite Your Inner Potential, the closed group, please do just shout out to yes, or I want to be in the group. Just let me know and I'll put you in there. It was a great video. Yes, it was an awesome video. It's like 1 minute long. And this video was just so powerful. It's something that I religiously practice in my life, absolutely religiously practice in my life. I live by the quote from the great man, the godfather of personal development, as far as I'm concerned, a guy called Jim Rohn, who's no longer with us now. And Jim Rohn said, guys, don't worry, I shall add you in there. Sarah, Kuldeep and Ali, don't worry about that. You will be in that group, not a problem. And thank you very much for expressing an interest. So Jim Rohn, the godfather of personal development, and you've probably heard me say this so many times, it's because it's so important to me. He said that you become the average of the 5 people whose company you keep most. Now, really think about that. You know, Sarah mentioned the word inner circle. It is this inner circle, and one of the reasons why I created this inner circle was that people within that group kept the right company, were surrounded by supportive individuals who were pushing them to rise up rather than pulling them to pull them back down. So your inner circle, the 5 people whose company you keep most, are so very important. And in this video that I saw this morning, Will Smith talks about, you know, who's fanning your flames, and as he puts it, who's pissing on your fire. I would far rather say who's dousing your fire, but hey, that's how it is. But if you think about that, that makes an awful lot of sense. There are people in your life right now, and you will know them just by the description. There are people in your life right now who are those people. Whenever you're thinking about creating something, whenever you're thinking about doing something, whenever you're thinking about taking one step closer to a dream, they are the kind of people who will be pushing you forward. They will be pushing you forward, they will be fanning your flame, and then yet there are other people around you that whenever you talk about some great dream that you might have, they're the ones who will cause you to doubt yourself, only because they come from a place of fear themselves. And we'll talk about that in a short while as well. What does that mean? Gilback says, hi Cole, I'm being fanned by my clients. Helping others is so rewarding. They've honored me this week by nominating me for an award. Yes, I'm so very proud of you for that, Gilback. Well done on receiving that award. Well done. But this is not so much about the clients. This is about the people whose company you're keeping. The clients are, for me, you can only give the clients the very best of yourself when you are surrounded in your own private inner circles by the right people, the people who get you to become the very best version of you. Then you can go on to deliver in that guise of the very best version of yourself to your clients, if you're a teacher, to your students, if you're working in any organization, to those around you, those who receive your services or receive your input. That's how I see it. So, I mean, what I did this morning, before I even saw this video just inspired me to do more. But this morning, I suddenly decided that I was going to go through my Facebook friends. Now, I have something like, I think it was some crazy figure like 4,100 Facebook friends in that region. And it struck me this morning because you know how you get the birthday notifications coming up, and I got these birthday notifications coming up of all these people who had got birthdays, and every single one of these, like 8 or 9 people, I had no idea who they were. I had no connection with them. I'd had no conversation with them. And when I looked at some of their profiles, because I took the time out to do that, some of them had got 4,000, 5,000 friends, and we'd got something like 200 or 300 mutual friends. And I suddenly thought to myself, so why are we connected? Are we connected because we have got this number of mutual friends and therefore we've just become part of some kind of a herd or some kind of a group? Or are we connected because at some point in time we thought to ourselves that our measure of success is the number of people that we are connected to on Facebook? Now, I'll be honest with you. When I started thinking about using Facebook as part of my business and as part of me building my credentials or credibility or awareness or whatever you want to call it, I fell into this trap of you've got to have as many friends as you possibly can on Facebook. And, you know, life sort of guides you into that kind of thinking. Life, if you look at it in the current society, your measure of significance is very often driven by how much you have or what you have. What car you drive, what house you have, what status you hold, how many friends you've got around you, how many friends now on social media, how many friends we have within our social media. Grant says Jesus came to serve the whole world, but he hung around with 12 and spent most of his time with 3, Peter, James and John. That is so powerful. I mean, there is a prime example. Jesus came to serve the whole world, but he hung around. He kept his company very, very tight. And he ensured that he kept the very best of company that could get the very best out of him. And that's a realization that I had. Now, you all know that I very often talk about my mission statement. My mission statement is that I want to change the world through the transformation of people. So it's a global mission statement. There's like 7.5 billion people in this planet. But my mission is to serve as many of those 7.5 billion as I can. But I'm not going to do that by being connected through Facebook or whatever other means by each and every one of those 7.5 billion. What I'm going to do, what I need to do is become the very best version of who I am so I can serve at my very best. And in order for me to do that, I need to be surrounded by the very best. So consequently, what I did this morning was I went onto my Facebook and I deleted 400 people. 400 people on my Facebook. When you go through, please do this. If you've got a big number on your Facebook, do this on a regular basis. As I went through my friends list, there were people there that I literally did not know. I had no idea who these people were, where they lived, what they did. I'd never spoken to any of these people. They'd never interacted with me. I'd never interacted with them. That could be down to Facebook algorithms or something like that. But besides that, they have never been a part in my life as I've never been a part in their lives. So I asked myself the question, okay, so what criteria am I going to follow? You're going to have some kind of a criteria. What criteria am I going to follow to clean up my friends list? And I came up with 5 points. I'm going to try and remember them now. I wrote them down somewhere. But it is people who had nearly got 5,000 friends, because... And that doesn't mean an automatic deletion, by the way. These are the 5 criteria that got me thinking. So I explored in a bit more depth. So anybody who'd got, you know, nearly 5,000 friends, because then I was wondering, are they just doing it from a point of significance, as I was doing a couple of years back when I built up all this huge numbers of friends? I also looked at the next criteria. Have we got more than 100 mutual friends? Because if we have, could that suggest that we are just part of a herd of people, a group of people, and that we feel obliged to be connected to each other? And the third one was anybody who I ever recognize as ever having been angry on Facebook. I know that's a crazy one. The fourth one is whether they have ever demonstrated, even if I know them, whether they've ever demonstrated any strong political views, because politics I don't do. Politics are not important to me. And the fifth one, and I'm forgetting what the fifth one was. Oh, whether I'd ever spoken to this individual, whether I had ever engaged with this individual, full stop. So there were lots of people on there that I recognized, lots of people who'd followed me, lots of people who'd maybe who'd engaged with me at some level or another. So they were fine. They were getting some level of value from what I was doing and our friendship. But so many of these people, we'd never spoken. So what was the value really of them hanging around in my life? So that's the first step for me cleaning up my life, if you like, my social media life. The second step of all of that is going to be now, and of course I just got tired. I deleted 400 people and I got tired because it's a tedious process. I shall do it again tomorrow and perhaps the day after that, and I'll probably take an hour aside because I want to get rid of something like 1,000 and 1,500 people and get my numbers way down to the manageable level for me. The second step of all of that is I'm going to have a real eagle eye now on my timeline for Instagram, for Facebook, for every aspect of social media, because I'm now going to be looking at the language that people use. Are people using the right kind of language, the language that really resonates with me, that is going to help me at a subliminal level to move forward? Or are these the kind of people that are more likely to hold me back? And sometimes, people say the right thing, but you have to look at it at a deeper level. Are they really saying that? Do they really believe that? Or are they just saying that because they feel they have to? And I find this a lot with people within the personal development field. They say the right thing because they feel they have to say that because they're a coach, they're a speaker, or whatever that they might be. But actually, when you look through their timelines, you'll see that they're not always practicing what they preach. So those kind of people, for me, they need to go because I cannot afford to be aligned with those kind of people. And then I practice this in my physical world as well, because your physical world is where the real people hang out, the people that you actually interact with at a very physical kind of level. And for me, I've been practicing that for the last 5 years. And I'm very ruthless with it. And yesterday, I think, or the day before, I was talking about humility. Grant, have you ever thought about outsourcing it, mate? Give your criteria to your team. Do you know what, Grant? I actually thought about doing that very same thing today, but I felt I wanted a sense of ownership around my inner circle. I really did think about outsourcing it, and it was so easy to do that, but I wanted some level of ownership because it is so personal to me about who is connected to me, and I didn't want to push that decision onto somebody else. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But for me, this is a real personal thing. I wanted to make that value-based judgment myself. So yes, I have thought about that, and I thought about it long and hard today. I might still outsource it. I might change my mind, but at this moment in time, I just feel it's a strong value-based judgment that I want to make, and it needs to come from my own personal values. So, the other day I was talking about humility, and I did a Facebook Live around humility. And one of the things that I said is that, very often we regard people, when we talk about a humble person, we have this vision of this humble person kowtowing down to people and bowing to people all the time. I really don't believe that that's what humility is all about. Humility is about having a sense of detachment from the noise of the world, but being completely connected inside yourself and knowing that you are constantly growing and constantly learning, that you are never complete as a person. You've never fully grown as a person. So it's about having a growth mindset. That's what humility is for me. A person that knows that they've always got somewhere else yet to grow, and recognizing that keeps our ego at bay. But the one thing I don't think humility is about this whole concept of kowtowing, this concept of being subservient to other people. And we should practice that in our lives. So just because you are a humble person does not mean that you cannot be ruthless with the company that you keep. If you keep the company of thieves, you're more likely to become a thief. If you keep the company of people who drink an awful lot, you're likely to end up drinking an awful lot. If you keep the company of people who swear an awful lot, you're likely to start swearing and using foul language. If you keep the company of people who are deceptive, you may start lying yourself. It's as simple as that. So for me, you have to be really ruthless. This is not about you becoming hardened or hard-nosed or cruel or any of these kind of things. This is, if you like, an aspect of humility for me. This is, in essence, you being true to yourself and you being so ruthless, saying to yourself, these are my values. These are my values. And if somebody doesn't accord with my values, then what is the sense in me keeping them in my life? Because you see, everyone has their own mind and everyone has a belief system. And some people will believe that they can do something. Some people will have fears that prevent them from doing something. And if you have people in your life right now who have got, or who are holding fears themselves of ever achieving anything or ever moving forward or ever aspiring towards a dream, there is more likelihood that these people, purely because of their own fear base, their own value base, their own limiting beliefs, they are more likely to say to you, do you know what, it sounds scary what you're doing. Can you really achieve that? And I'm not sure if that's going to be successful. And yet these people might love you. They're coming from a place of love, but because they're holding down their own fears, their own limiting beliefs, they're now pushing those onto you. So these are the kind of people that I really need to look at in much more depth. This is not just about people who I don't like or people who don't like me, because you're always going to have haters. You can't please all the people all the time, can you? But what you can do is start looking at a much deeper level. And it's more challenging to look at those people who genuinely love you. It's more challenging to look at those people who really do care about you, but they are still your naysayers in life. These are the people who are going to pull you down. So guys, my short message here is, in actual fact, Will Smith's message, and I guess he gets it from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's phenomenal quote about the 5 people whose company you keep most. Will Smith says, check your 5 last text messages. Who were they from? What did they say? What impact did they have on you? If they were good, keep them. If they were not good, lose them. And when we say lose them, I'm not saying, break all ties with your loved ones, with your brothers, your sisters, your parents and your grandparents and all this kind of stuff. But I'm saying put them at such a distance that they are not the 5 people who you speak to the most, who are really in the very tightest of inner circles. And for me, that's what I practice. I still ring my parents all the time. I still speak to my brothers and sisters, but I don't speak to them as often as I speak to my inner circle. And it's my inner circle that's going to drive me forward in my life, so I can be the very best that I can be to serve the people that I want to serve around the world. It's as simple as that. So I hope this has been useful for you today. Bit of a rant, bit of a ramble, but these are just my thoughts, and I hope they have been of value to you. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on my next Facebook Live. Bye-bye.